995, 996, 997, 998, 999, 1000. Yeah. Oh. Come on. Come on. Come on. Flex. No! Still small.
Is it because of my small calves? They're the hardest place to add mass.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to today's video. And today we're going to talk about why our calves can't grow. Because you obviously clicked on this video because you have small calves and you want to know how to grow them. And you may be thinking, well, why would I listen to a guy who also has small calves? There you go. They're not that big. But let me tell you something. I know how we can do it.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of factors that come into calves and why they don't grow and why they are small. And then on the other end of the spectrum, why there are people that have massive calves, but they never train them. And they just seem to be born with the lower leg development of a Norse god. Well, there are a lot of things, but one of the most obvious things are genetics. Now, before you say like, you can't blame it all on genetics, I'm not. What I'm doing is saying that they have a big role in it, okay? Now, me, I have very high calf insertions. I have small ankles. You can't train your ankles, hence you can't get them bigger. So I've had a lot of people tell me that I have tiny ankles. I need to get them bigger. It's a very weird saying. But the thing is, my calves, the insertion of the muscles are very small. It's like a little ball. And that in itself is always going to be a hard thing to develop. I'm not going to say that you can't, because you can. And the reason why mine are small is that probably for the majority of my lifting career, I neglected calves. I do a couple of sets after my workout here and there, but I would not dedicate much time to it at all. And just like any muscle, you're gonna need to dedicate time. I just thought, who needs big calves when you have big quads? But what's more on show, your quads or your calves when you're wearing shorts. A lot of the times it's your calves, and a lot of people go, this guy has small calves, he doesn't train legs, and boy, they don't know the truth.
Alright then guys, calves. Now, I'm not going to spend too long going over this, but what I want to give you is my advice on how we can grow our calves. I mean, I've been trying for at least a week now, and it hasn't been happening, so I'm going to implement these methods to help me do so. Gastrocnemius, aka calf, you can change the size of it. Unfortunately, you can't change the shape. It's the same with every muscle. How it looks, how it is. You can only change the mass of the muscle itself. Just like the abs, you can't change the shape, you can't change the shape of your bicep, etc. So unfortunately, if you have high insertion calves like myself, well, it's not too much unfortunate, they're never gonna be big and literally hanging down to your ankles, because like me, they're going to be quite high, and all we can do is help increase that size and make them a little bit bigger and make them look like a huge ball on the top of your calves. But anyway, so one of the major things with muscles is that they're surrounded by a thing called fascia. Now, fascia is a protective lining that surrounds them, making sure that it doesn't spill out or go everywhere or leak into other parts of your body. And around your calves, it's especially tight. Okay, this is why a lot of people find it hard to grow your calf, because this fascia is literally preventing you from growing. So one of the best things to implement is stretching, intraset stretching in your calf when you're training your calves. So for example, you're going into train calves, you stretch it out after and in between every set. Now, this is one of the crucial things to allow it to grow, especially when you're driving the blood there, expanding it, tearing down the muscle fibers, and giving it a pump. Now, secondly, volume, load, and how should you be training it? Now, frequency, you can train your calves quite frequently. I'd say you can train it up to 3-4 times per week. So you don't always want to stick to high reps, low weight. You want to mix it up, go high weight, low reps. Always change up how you're training and the volume and load of your calves to give it the most dynamic range in order it to grow, because they respond to everything. So say for one session you're doing 4 sets of 25 on standing calf raises, and the next week you do a lot heavier, or the next session you do a lot heavier, you do 5 sets of 8 to 10 applying that load. Then you do supersets and things like that. Frequency equals growth. And with me, I wasn't doing that. I was literally throwing 1 set at the end of my leg days once or twice a week, and that's it. The reason why I have small calves is because I don't train them, and I've accepted that, and now I'm going to start training it. But when it comes to exercises, it doesn't really matter too much, but what I'd always tend to focus on is the standing up exercises, or when your leg is at a full extension. When you're doing seated exercises, it actually limits the amount of stretch and activation you get from the whole calf, because you're working more with the top portion rather than the whole gastrocnemius. Now, I'd always recommend things like standing calf raises on the machine, squat rack, or Smith machine. Probably leave out the squat rack, because if you have a Smith machine or anything that can support you and apply that tension rather than core stabilizers, that's where you should be going. Things like standing single leg calf raises and leg press calf raises, everything that has your legs extending out, making sure they're activating and stretching the whole muscle. Now, full range of motion, you want to make sure that you're not doing these half reps, you're not doing these little things that are just, you're not pumping. You want to make each rep count. It's gonna be uncomfortable, it's gonna be horrible. You want to do nice, slow, controlled reps, pushing through your big toe, activating each muscle, going down, stimulating the muscle. I can't stress that enough. You want to feel each and every rep. It's not going to be nice, but I can guarantee you, you're going to grow those calves with those key points. Now, wrapping it up, summarizing this video, you want to be doing intraset stretching. You want to be applying lots of volume and lots of load to the muscle. They can take a lot of battering. Focus on full extension, full leg extension movements where you're activating and stretching the calf, and focus and keep so much tension on each and every rep. Form over weight on the calf, pretty much everything. Unless you're doing compounds, that should be your main goal. Now guys, I hope this helps, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little calf transformation for you guys. So what we're going to do is I'm going to measure my calves, and we're going to show you, I'm going to show you what I'm starting with, and in 3, 4, maybe 6 months, we're going to measure them again and see how big they got and if I'm actually growing. And if you want to do this as well, guys, please join me on the challenge and see what we can do and see if we can grow these calves. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop it a like and share if you know a friend who needs to grow their calves. But if anything, I'll see you in the next one.